It was the app that nobody wanted, and it's cost taxpayers millions upon millions of dollars. I am referring to, of course, the ArriveCan app, now known as the ArriveSCAM app. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Warren Kinsella and Lorrie Goldstein. So, Lorrie, in the ongoing saga of ArriveSCAM app, which sent over 10,000 Canadians incorrectly to go into quarantine. The app didn't work, wasn't functioning. It cost taxpayers, what the auditor said, over almost $60 million. Well, one of the companies that was involved in getting that government work to the tune of $15 million was admonished before the House of Commons this week, something that hasn't happened since 1913 because he ignored a summons.
For being found in contempt, for your refusal to answer certain questions, and for prevaricating in your answers to other questions. For all these reasons, on behalf of the House of Commons, I admonish you.
But Kristian Firth came forward with a doctor's note, Lorrie.
Yeah, just noting on the Auditor General's report, it's even worse. The Auditor General says she's alarmed because she doesn't know what the final price tag was. She found things in the ArriveCan budget that shouldn't have been there, which makes her wonder, well, then is there other money that's supposed to be in there that we haven't seen? And anyway, as you note, this gentleman was hauled before the House of Commons because he had initially refused to testify. And he said he was under stress and he had a doctor's note, but he answered questions anyway.
I'm supposed to not participate in any activity that would cause any undue stress.
My only concern about this is that he's a symptom of the problem. He's not the problem. When somebody, and look, I'm not accusing him of any crime or anything, when there is a determination that public money went out to someone in a bizarre fashion or in an irresponsible fashion, there are two parties that are responsible. One is the person who receives the money, but the more important one is the entity that gave the money. And I think the real concern about ArriveCan is that it's literally the tip of the iceberg. If this happened on a contract for something very simple that all kinds of experts said should have cost, a few $100,000 to set up, not 60 million. If it's happening on that, what else is it happening on? And the other thing is, this stuff keeps happening on IT. And we've seen not just in the Trudeau government, but in provincial governments, they seem to be, I don't know whether it's that they don't have the experts or they don't know how to hire, or they don't know enough to know to hire the people who should know. But I think the governments are getting hornswoggled on IT. And that, to me, is the greatest public concern.
Well, Warren, it's an important point that Lorrie brings up in terms of it takes two to tango here, so to speak. I mean, there was an army of bureaucrats on the other side of this, approving these contracts, meeting with the subcontractors and doing all of this work that we as the taxpayers are paying for. We haven't heard anything from the people that approve these contracts. I don't anticipate that we will. But in your experience, particularly with this Trudeau government, this is not a news story. This seems to come up over and over and over again. I'm just wondering, are there going to be any consequences out of this? Are there going to be any further fallout, or is this just one more scandal that Canadians have to roll their eyes at with Trudeau?
Well, can I tell you an old guy story, an old war story? So I was chief of staff when Kristian won in '93 at supply and services, public works, and so on. So basically, we were in charge of procuring everything from pencils to tanks for the government of Canada. And when we came in, let's say at that point there were 30 departments and agencies, ministries and agencies. There's actually more. But when we came in, the deputy minister and the ADMs come in and are briefing us. And they said, well, I said to them, so how many operating systems, computer operating systems are there within the government of Canada? because I figured, you know, they picked Apple or they picked Microsoft or they picked somebody, right, to do it. And they said there's more than 30. So what had happened, because as you pointed out, both of you correctly, this isn't just this government, this has been going on for a while. The basically procurement for multi-million-dollar contracts, huge contracts, was being run by bureaucrats in each department and agency without oversight. It's like, you know, I said to them, well, didn't it make sense to just, you know, hire one company to save money so we can use the same system and so the departments and agencies can talk to each other? And the deputies were like, yes, that would have made more sense. So we endeavored to do that. So like, I'm not trying to exonerate political people here, but, you know, one thing that we can do as a country is ensure that we centralize procurement so that departments aren't off doing some atrocity like the ArriveCan app, which, by the way, never worked, you know, quite apart from the fact that it was unbelievably expensive. It didn't work. Like, we need to have some degree of centralization and oversight to save taxpayer money and avoid problems like this. And so hopefully the next government does that.
Well, Lorrie, you know, last word to you on this. I think to the broader point of the frustration and anger that Canadians have with their tax dollars being completely wasted, and at a very sensitive time too, when this app could have grounded you from doing anything. And so there's that emotional component to it. But overall, you know, when Kristian Firth was brought forward to the House for his admonishment and brought to the bar and to answer questions, his house was being searched by the RCMP on another matter, not related necessarily directly to ArriveCan, but it just would appear that this government doesn't do any due diligence. They don't care who they're hiring. It's just like get something out the door quickly. And as Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party, asked him, does he feel ashamed? He doesn't feel ashamed. And the Conservatives asked him, has he been asked to pay any of the money back? And the answer to that is no. So money gone, money wasted, and not to be found again. Last word to you, Lorrie.
The Liberals don't want to get to the bottom of this. I mean, they really don't, because if you start turning over rocks, what's underneath them? And so, but I think this one, you know, it's one people get. This started out as a few $100,000 project, you know, never mind, it was an emergency, blah, blah, blah. You know, this stuff isn't new, this kind of technology. And it ends up at 60 million that we know of, and that, you know, people are being wined and dined in the government, you know, as these decisions are made. So to me, it's just, this is one people get. It's not hard to understand. When you start talking about $1 billion of waste, you know, as Warren knows, people's eyes go up. But 60 million, when it was supposed to cost a couple $100,000, people get that. And in tough times, it's just one more thing that drives people crazy. You know, we have seniors deciding between rent and food. And when you see this stuff, it's just, it just leaves people speechless and angry. And that is obviously being reflected in the popularity of the current government.
Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Does the Trudeau government actually want to get to the bottom of this scandal? I think you know what we think. And go to thetorontosun.com and hit that subscribe button. You're going to find commentary and coverage there that you will not find anywhere else.